Hey, what is good everyone, Chris here, welcome back to the channel. And today I want to start with a thank you. I thank you for subscribing to the channel and for being here with me. When I started this channel 2 years ago, I never ever thought 500 people will actually watch my videos and be here with me and share their thoughts about what I'm saying on this channel. And that's amazing. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that this channel is gonna grow faster and bigger. I hope that at some point we will create that community and we'll do meetups and everything, because I'm eager to share my experience and everything I'm doing that's related to photography and gadgets and tech as well with you guys. So thank you again, 500 subscribers. That is amazing. Okay, but this is not the subject mainly for this video. Today we're talking about another lens that I recently bought, and that is the Fujinon 60mm f 2.4, the macro lens, or the half macro, whatever you want to call it, because this is not a full macro. It's a 0.5 magnification, not a 1:1 magnification, which makes it not very usable for all macro shooters out there. But for me, it's more than enough, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I feel and what this lens is and how can you use it. Please stay with me, and if you didn't subscribe to the channel, which is hard to believe because there's so many subscribers daily, but if you didn't, go ahead and hit that notification bell and subscribe button underneath. And let's start with the tech specs. It's a lens that has 10 elements in 8 groups. It also has 2 ED elements that helps with the chromatic aberration and the image distortion and everything else. It's built like any other Fujifilm lens, very solid, built out of metal with a metal mount. It does have a little bit of a heft to it, not much. And in terms of dimensions, it's pretty much the same as the 50mm f2 or the 35 f2, which are pretty much in the same range. And this is something that I really like, the small form factor, the fact that you can carry it with you all the time. You can put it in your bag and don't even feel it and don't even know that it's there. If you look at it now, I'm gonna mount it on my XC3. On my XC3 is actually very small, so I believe that nobody will be bothered by the dimensions of this lens. It's small, it's portable, it's well built. Unfortunately, it's not a water resistant lens, though it's an XF lens. But I don't think that people will shoot macro in the rain, especially because you don't have enough light. If you're using flashes and that's your thing to shoot macro, in unfortunate conditions, let me say that, I think that this needs a little bit of a protection because, like I said, it's not weather sealed. But this lens provides the image quality and the qualities of a full macro lens. For those of you who are printing huge images, who are printing huge macro images, this might not be for you, because to get that 1:1 magnification, you have to actually crop a little bit, and that will take out of the quality of your image, and you're gonna make the file a little bit smaller, so you won't be able to print huge prints. In terms of design, like I said, it has have an aperture ring, which is great, especially for macro, when you can change that depth of field and play with the bokeh or bokeh on your photos. It's clicky, it's very clicky, and that is good. On my 2314 and the 5612, they're a little bit too loose, and the clicks are not very well defined, and you might bump into it trying to shoot a photo. Other than that, nothing much to say. It's a 39mm filter threaded on the top of it, so you can also put a filter if you want to. It does have an aperture from f2.4 all the way to f22, probably around f16 the diffraction is gonna kick in, and the image quality is gonna be definitely not as good as at lower apertures, but it's a very bright lens. F2.4, it's good. Most of the macro lenses are around f2.8. This one is a little bit lower than that, and like I said, it feels very well on my X-T3, which is the smaller body that I have. On the X Pro 2 and X-T3, there is no conversation. That's gonna be perfect. It's actually very, very well balanced on the X-T3. So if you have an X-T3 or an X-T20, an X-T10, it will definitely feel very well on that one, and you can play with it and you can have it with you all the time and shoot macro outside or inside. This is a great lens for shooting product photography as well as portraits. And if you are a portrait shooter, if you're a portrait photographer just like myself, you probably have the 56-1 too. How these two compare? Well, you have to subscribe to the channel and stay with me, because I'm gonna try to do a comparison, a real-time comparison, do a photo shoot either with my daughter or my wife, or maybe I can find a model. These days it's gonna be a little bit tough, but if I do, I'm gonna do a comparison, straight comparison between the 60 f2.4 and the 56 1.2. I believe that the bokeh that comes out of this lens, it's pretty comparable, if not better, than the 56 1.2. But I only saw a few samples from people who did that, and I'm not sure how good that will compare. But definitely we'll do a review, and I hope that you will be here to watch it. I am pretty sure that in terms of autofocus, this one can provide well for macro. It's pretty snappy, especially in single autofocus. If you're putting in continuous, it's gonna hunt a little bit, but I'm not sure if you need continuous autofocus when you're shooting macros. You can also put it on manual and manual focus. A gripe, and this is first impression that I have with this lens, is the fact that the focus ring doesn't snap back, and it's not tiltable like the other ones, when you can just pull it back and manual focus, and pinpoint the focus using manual focus and then pull it back. I think that Fujifilm took out of it a little bit, because it's not the most expensive macro that they have. The 1:1 magnification, the 80mm, it's different than this one, and I think it's weather sealed as well. But for a starter, and because I got a good deal on this one, and I keep saying that, and you guys are probably thinking this guy is crazy. Well, I did got a good deal. It's less than half a price of this lens in an amazing condition. And I'm gonna start putting the deals up so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm not lying. I'm not buying things because I have a guess. I'm just buying things because I find them at good prices, and I'm trying to get as many as I can and make my setup for my Fujifilm. As you know already, I made a video when I switched from Sony to Fujifilm like 6 months ago, and I'm still building up. So this is a good addition, I believe, for my setup. Like I said, I'm shooting wedding photography, I'm shooting portraits, so this will be very helpful for details, or even for portraits and headshots and stuff like that. Like I said, the autofocus, it's fast. It's fast, plenty fast for portrait photographer. Probably not fast enough for street photography, but I don't know if somebody is thinking about shooting street photography with a macro lens. It's probably not fast enough for sports as well, but at 60mm you won't get much of a sport lens. But for portraits and for macro, for product photography, this is a great lens in terms of autofocus. If you are thinking about buying this lens, my opinion is do not wait. But at the price that you're paying for it as a new lens, I think the 80mm is going to be better, especially if you are a macro photographer, a dedicated macro photographer. But if you are like me and you need it for a backup as a portrait lens, or just use it for time to time for details and product shots and stuff that you need to be a little bit in depth and closer to the subject, this is amazing. If you are getting it for cheaper than the retail price, just go for it. 25 to 50% cheaper, it's way better. And I know that we're all trying to save some money. I got lucky with it. I hope you will too. I do really appreciate buying this lens because it's very helpful in all kinds of situations, especially in my field of work. And that's it, guys. thank you again for subscribing to the channel. Thank you again for growing this channel. And I hope we're gonna be here more and more. And we're gonna create this community that I want to have and give you my knowledge and get something from you, because I know that from your comments you guys are super well in depth with Fujifilm and photography, and I love that. So don't forget to put your comments in the box down below and let me know what you think about the 60mm f2.4. If you have it, did you try it, did you put it to its paces? And I will definitely see you in a bit.